So hey guys, I finished editing the mission, which I mentioned last time, which is a short story that is intended to set up some elements in one of my ongoing projects, which is currently unannounced, but right now I have finished Act 1 and I am looking at Act 2, contemplating whether or not I need to make any changes before I go on to Act 3. Um, I finished a short story that I was considering putting in the Blue Moon anthology, but I'm not entirely sure if it's as strong as I want it to be yet, so I'm contemplating several options, among which is tweaking certain details, possibly trying a different approach to the concept, and a few other things, but the story, at least to me, just doesn't quite feel like it flows just yet. And the core idea isn't the problem. It's mostly just I'm not entirely sure if the execution is up to my standards, because for whatever reason, one reason or another, and this is something I do more often than I'd like to admit, is that I was working on the story, and for one reason or another, I stopped in the middle, and then I didn't work on it for a long time. And then coming back to it, I tried to finish what I had originally written in my notes, except it didn't quite feel like it worked. So, I might read the whole thing or possibly see if I can solicit some opinions, but we'll see. In other news, I have received the second dose of the COVID vaccine. Strack and I got the Pfizer, which so far doesn't seem to have any ill effects that I can tell. I know some people that I've talked to have had side effects from the second shot, ranging from being down for a week to a couple of days of fever or such things. But so far, we seem to be okay, which is, I guess, a good thing. Um, I have a little bit of news with regards to my car. On the plus side, I have gotten the title switched over. Place to do your homework. I had brought the right forms, the right documentation. So once we finally got to the window, it was just, pay the fee, and it'll be a couple weeks until we get a new title. So we will have a new title for my car issued. And also, while we were out running errands, my car decided that it was only starting some of the time. Now, it just kind of, when I turned the key, the lights would come on and the dials would kind of spasm a little bit and it would click, but it wouldn't actually start. And then after like the second or third attempt, it seemed to start right up. Well, erring on the side of caution, as I usually prefer to do when it comes to car stuff, I took it to the dealership. They looked at it and they said that it was the battery cable and the harness that it attaches to, and that is going to run us a fair amount of money, but it's not really, nothing insurmountable. I have a plan in place to handle it. It's more than I would have preferred, but I'm just glad that they found something, because my fear was that when I took it in, the mechanic would find nothing wrong with it. I would get it back, and after having paid money for them to look at it, would end up having the problem again. But primarily, I'm just thankful that it happened at the end of our errands when we were close to the house, so that even if it didn't start, we could have just walked home. And in general, and I have to say that I am grateful to the universe for, generally speaking, my car problems. 90% of them happen at or around my house, and usually at times where they are not at the worst possible time that they could be. Um, the first sign of the problem was when we were out at the grocery store. That would have been a problem if, of course, we had $200 worth of groceries sitting in the trunk. Fortunately, it started that time, and at least at that particular instance, I wasn't even certain if we had actually had a problem, but, it becoming more prevalent. But in any case, most of the time, and I can recall, fortunately for me, on one hand, the times that it has been somewhere inconvenient. Um, so generally speaking, I have to be pretty grateful to the universe for most of my car problems being either when I'm at home or when it's not too much of a big deal. Like, I can recall a couple of instances where I've been ready to go to work and my car didn't start, and things like that. But I mean, for the most part, whenever my car has had issues, it's been when I've been at home and with relatively painless access to somebody to fix it. So there is that. I should hopefully get my car back early next week before I need it again. So, all things considered, it's I wouldn't say it's been a good thing, but it's been a lot less painful than it could have been in other circumstances. So there's that. And also, I finally got in contact with the IRS. I had been trying to call them for a couple of days after my tax return seemed to be stuck in limbo. It said it was waiting to be processed. Well, after 6 weeks from sending my return, which usually doesn't happen, I called, and apparently I discovered that it is very difficult to get to an actual person at the IRS through their phone system. There is a very complicated sequence of prompts to their menu that you have to enter, and after 9 or 10 prompts and 3 or 4 attempts, I finally got through to an actual person, and after talking to them, explaining my situation, we were able to figure that it was due to the name change, which I thought would not be a problem because my internet research indicated that they get their information from Social Security, but evidently there was a name mismatch, which I guess is semi-expected. But given that I had my Social Security changed over by then, I thought they would check it against that it would match, and they would just move on. But the person that I spoke to put a note in the system, so hopefully my tax return will filter through and I should get that money relatively soon. So there is that, and that's another thing taken care of. I guess the last thing to mention is that I've been contemplating whether or not I'm ready to get a new cat, and I think that I probably will sooner than originally anticipated. I mean, the last time I lost Kitty, it was 2 months before I decided to go get another one. And, not that I still miss Opal, but I also miss having a kitty. And, I'm kind of looking forward to the opportunity to welcoming a new kitten into the house. And, so I don't know. Maybe our next free weekend we'll think about doing that. But, I already kind of think I have a name picked out. I've toyed around with the different ideas, which I think I've mentioned on this vlog before. But unless a more perfect name comes up, the most likely candidate at this point is Sapphire, because I'm kind of just thinking of keeping with the jewel theme for the time being, and I guess that means that I'll have to come up with a name for kitty number 4 whenever I eventually need that. But for now, I think that Sapphire is the likely candidate, and hopefully I will have some video detailing the expedition to go find a new kitty in a couple of weeks, or whenever that rolls around. But, I mean, that's it for now. Right now, I'm going to work on getting a plan together for the remaining time that I have before I start looking for new employment and possibly signing up for unemployment insurance. But more on that probably in the next vlog. And I mean, for right now, I'm it's kind of been a complicated couple of weeks, with my the car and the cat and other things filtering and making things a little bit more complicated than I generally prefer. But, I mean, for right now, I can say that I'm okay, and that hopefully I will have a better handle on things in the next 2 weeks. So, that being said, I will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked it, click the subscribe button and leave a comment below. You can also find me on Twitter and a few other places on the web, or support me via Patreon or Ko-fi. Zebra hugs!